Alright guys, today we got a trade recap that I think literally drops the most sauce I've ever dropped on this YouTube page before. I'm super excited to show you guys everything, but first and foremost, I just want to say that in my free Discord page, I drop a daily trade recap every single day, so feel free to join. Now let's get into this fucking insane trade I took. And by the way, my student that copied this trade off me live literally made $10,000 today. Fucking insane. Without further ado, I caught a 6RR trade on the live today. Obviously, you guys know I live trade every trade to the exclusive Discord, and we caught a 6RR banger today. So let's get into exactly what made me take this, what made me target what I targeted, and why I like this trade so much. So first, let's go into the day. Going to the day, we were pretty bullish. We were trading within this 1 hour gap. As you can see, this very big 1 hour gap. I probably wouldn't have even considered shorts until we took out this, or until we inversed this 1 hour gap, if we did. In terms of why we wouldn't be bullish is because we were dumping so hard into open. As you can see, right, we just have down, 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 right? But then on top of that, we are also at all-time highs. This is all-time high, right? So at all-time highs, we are almost always bullish unless this is what someone that I used to be friends with, or I'm still friends with him, sorry. Someone that I'm friends with always says this, that when we're at all-time highs, we are bullish until proven guilty, right? So we're literally, just like it says, we are going to assume bullish unless we're proven otherwise. And for example, in this case, if we had inverse this 1 hour, that would be, to me, like proving otherwise, right? If we had inverse this 1 hour, it'd be like, okay, yeah, we're proving that we're not going to be bullish today. But until then, I'm bullish. The only other reason that we could be bearish that I saw was possibility of a bearish day is we did have some low resistance liquidity, otherwise known as trendline liquidity, built up here, right? We could have ripped through here. Here's the reason why I wasn't too worried about once market opened. The exact reason I wasn't too worried about that. Normally, if we had a really clear draw to the downside, I wouldn't like taking trades in the opposite direction of it. However, as we can see, this is a valid low. This is a valid low, but this low is protected. It took out these two lows. So this low is protected, not liquidity behind it. This low is protected. Take out all these lows. This would be the first mitigation of this fair value gap. So this low wasn't protected, but once it was taken out, now this new low is protected. And yeah, so really the huge low resistance liquidity is literally just mostly like this low is kind of important. This low doesn't really look important to me. Neither is this, but this low, yeah, sure. And then until then, it's not another decent one until here maybe, but it also took out this low, so it's kind of protected as well. We did have these stacked lows and this new day opening gap, so those, my target for the day, if we had been bearish, was to go for this new day opening gap through this low resistance liquidity. But like I said, I was bullish until then. So going into the day, what I marked out was obviously the fact that we were in this 1 hour gap, and it's a 1 hour and 30 minute, as you can see, right? But when we want to see longs, when we're bullish, we first need to see a move in the opposite direction, right? A Judas swing. We need to see a move to the downside. So what is our targets? Well, if we go down to here, that's fine, but we might rip all the way down to the new day opening gap, and that's like a huge fucking drop, right? We might not go down that far. So what I told the exclusive boys is that I had marked out this order block, this 30-minute order block, and I said this could be I think this could be important. It also lines up with entrance of the first presented 15-minute gap. This is the last, what I consider high time frame is 15-minute and above. This is the last high time frame gap that we would need to break. It's the entrance of that. It lines up perfectly with that. And on top of that, what it lines up perfectly with is OTE of the current large range, right? Since this move up, right, we mark it out from beginning to end. As you can see, here's our OTE. This order block lines up perfectly with the midpoint of OTE, and it also lines up perfectly with the 15-minute gap. And yeah, so, and even if you wanted to even mark it out from Asia Open, it's the same thing, right? So this was a super large point of interest to me before market even opened. But let's get into actually what happened out of market open, right? As we can see, we have huge draws to the upside here, right? This is all low resistance liquidity that needs to get ran. All of this. We have, and then on top of that, we have equal highs here. So my first thought is that I want these equal highs to get hit. So the equal highs were the ultimate goal here. Because I didn't see any crazy, like this high is okay, not really great. Like it's slightly protected. This high is completely protected. So I didn't really see any draws higher than that. We also had to, besides obviously all-time high, which is really far. But anyways, so market opens. We draw our trend line because this is like, obviously we don't want it to break. If it breaks, even if it's just out of open, if this trend line breaks, I assume we're going to just rip up out of open. But let me go to the 30-second chart. As you can see, 30 seconds in, we perfectly dump down to enter this order block, which is this lower box. This overlapping section is the overlap between the hourly 30-minute gap and the order block, and we tap into this, which is the 15-minute fair value gap, and then we're also now obviously in optimal trade entry. We just tapped into the midpoint of OTE. So we're now looking for some type of long position. And I realized that by the time that we get this trendline break, we are going to have ripped so high. We would have to break completely through this. And by then we'd be hitting this high, and I want to be in by then. So what I noticed is that these highs are also low resistance. It's also a trend line. As we can see, right? It's also a trend line. And if we enter off of, if we get this inversion, this trend line will break. So that's what I was looking for, is to get this inversion and to break this trend line. As you can see in the next candle, we get that, right? We close this inversion. If we zoom in, we can see that this candle did not inverse it, right? It closed just barely below it. And it respected the trend line so far. But on the next candle, we clearly break above the trend line, like very clearly above the closes. You want to mark it out the closes, ideally. And we broke above it with an inversion, which is like literally, it's been my bread and butter recently. It's so fucking high probability, and here's what I really like about it. First, let me be clear. This is not a new model. I had someone ask that in the exclusive yesterday about a trendline trade we took. This is not a new model. This is the exact same model. This is a liquidity sweep, Judas swing, liquidity sweep, tap into some type of PD rate, in this case of order block and a fair value gap, and then inversion, a V-shape high volume inversion off of it. This is nothing new. This has always been my model, right? Alone without any trend lines, let's delete all the trend lines. This is a good trade, right? And then we just target equal highs where we target whatever. But this 100% goes into my discretion. So what I told the boys on the exclusive is I might not take this trade if we didn't have that trend line break. If we didn't have that trend line break, I could definitely see myself not taking this trade, and here's why. The candle that broke the inversion is not a high probability candle. It's not a very full candle, right? It's a very much wicked candle. It doesn't show strong displacement. This candle itself, obviously this move in itself does, but this candle does not show strong displacement. However, with this trendline break, here's why I was okay with taking it. And I guess that we actually had a volume gap, so we got entrance here. As we can see, prices here. Even though it's a bullish candle, it was a small volume gap. We opened up here and it closed down here. But because of this trend line, we can have a tight ass stop loss because we have this as support. If this trend line breaks down and closes back down to the downside, the trade is now automatically invalid, right? We're literally, like, the whole point of this trade, taking this trade, is that. So the reason that that's good is because we have a tight ass stop loss, which gives us super fucking crazy RR, right? So here was my original target, right? The equal highs. This is over 7 RR, which means if I took this trade 8 times, it only has to work once for me to be break even. Once and 8 times. So I can lose 7 times and then win the 8th one, and I didn't lose any money in that time period. So if it wins any more than that, any more often than that, then I'm making money. It's profitable. And fucking by far it does. Like, this is the trendline break with the inversion is so fucking good. Especially if we incorporate the fact that we are biased to the upside anyways. We're at all-time highs. We just happen to an order block. We just tap into OTE of the range. Like, fucking amazing. So stop loss there. Get the entry there and target this, right? As we can see, we immediately And okay, hold on. Let me also bring back the other trend line. The trend line I had made first of all was this. Something like this. And what I wanted to do was I called out break even here. And that's the whole point of getting entry down here was because I wasn't because it was risky taking this trend line because this is the more important trend line. So if we didn't break this trend line and if it held, I don't want to see us go all the way back to here. We would inverse this 30 second. It wouldn't look good at all, right? So I said break even here. So we set stops to break even already. Very quick break even trade. And as we can see, we come up. We're ripping through this low resistance, right? Then all of a sudden we reverse off of like this high, I guess. But we let it play out. And we end up having to push higher. And I noticed this, so I'm like, okay, why didn't we take these equal highs? Well, we need to look at what's in our way. Because now that we're in this trade, all we need to do now is like look for, is there anything blocking our way? Boom, what do we see here? 5 minute fair value gap right here blocking our equal highs, right? It also lines up with like technically you could call this an order block. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I didn't really take that into account. But anyways, this big 5 minute gap. We hit it perfectly, respect it, right? Perfectly. Like literally, so to get in for context, yeah, it actually, never mind, it doesn't even fucking matter. But yeah, we perfectly respect it. So now I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, these equal highs probably will hit, yes, right? It will probably hit. However, we're giving up 13 points. We're giving up like 12 points, less than 12 and a half points to get fucking, here, let me see. Like here. We're giving up 12 points of profit just to get a 6.7 RR instead of 6 RR. Like 6 RR is fucking ridiculous already, right? That's the highest RR trade that's basically higher than any RR trade I've ever taken. Like as high or higher, right? And it's in this same ballpark. Like I won't really take a higher RR trade than this ever. So I immediately say, okay, move stops to this high. Once we hit this high, highs within fair value gaps, if highs resting within fair value gaps, if you guys don't know, are very high probability to cause reversal, because it's kind of like a double whammy, right? We're reversing off of the fair value gap and off of the liquidity sweep. So there's no fucking reason to risk it. Put your stops, put your new break even or your new profit there. That's your new profit target. Let this play out. Still very confident in this, right? But our stops are break even. Anyways, then we just come up and hit it. And yeah, so that was the end of our 6 RR trade. You might be asking, okay, did we end up hitting those equal highs? No, we did not. We actually, after this, we technically got a play to the downside. I didn't take it. We had equal highs right here. I would never take this, but look at this. We hit this high within this fair value gap, got a literal perfect 1 minute inversion to the downside, and we literally reversed down to like this low. Oh, I guess even this low. But like obviously I would never take that. Anyways, look at this, guys. This is insane. This is the most insane part. If you held break even to the equal highs, you would have literally gotten perfectly stop rated. I literally think I would have broken every fucking piece of technology in my entire house if I had taken this and held it to the equal highs. And that's why. And it's why I'm so loose with like holding to my target, guys. I'm so flexible with it. Even what I do a lot of the time is, let's say I was holding this equal highs. Okay, or not even holding to the equal highs. Like obviously that wouldn't have happened. But let's say I was in a trade to these equal highs, like over here or something. What I do is I'll have my profit target, actually my take profit order, usually like above price, like here, because a lot of times, especially with equal highs, we'll like rip through it and above it, right? And as you can see, that actually is what we did here, right? We ripped above it, so it's just extra profit. But as soon as I see price hit this level, if we don't just rip through it, like literally in a second or two, if we're just like stalling here, even if we come down a little bit, I'll instantly pull my order down to fill it. Or if I see us lagging and edging and kind of like going down, I'm like, okay, clearly there's something I don't know about. I just pull my profit order down. It's like, okay, There's no fucking reason. And I don't care. People act like this is bad psych. Do you realize that this like 3 points you're giving up, you literally would have to, if you avoid taking a last minute edge reversal even one time out of like even once in a long while, you'd have to, like, that literally makes up for like 10 to 15 trades of the extra profit you get from holding. And that's the reason I moved here, right? Because normally we would still rip through this. We would rip through this high and we would still hit these equal highs before reversing. But it only takes one time. And the amount of profit I would have lost is fucking astronomically higher than the profit I'm losing from moving my profit target from here to here. And so literally that happening literally just made up for me moving my profit target, and it ended up hitting it anyways for like the next like 20 times. And that's why I do it. So, but anyways, that's the trade for the day. We did end up, we got obviously break even rated. But if you for some reason didn't put your stop loss at break even, which would be like really retarded, and held, we did end up going all the way to all-time highs, which is not surprising at all. That happens like basically like on so many days where we're at all-time highs. And that's the cool thing, is if you're on prop firms especially, you can just hold runners until all-time highs. If we're at all-time highs, you can just hold runners no matter what trade you're in. If you enter a long position, you can just hold runners like indefinitely. And as you can see, the rest of the day we literally just like step ladder up. And can we go higher time frame? It's taking too long. And what the fuck are we doing? Go to all-time highs. This is wasting my time. And there we go. Bang. Right, and we ripped through all-time highs. So that was a super good, like, this was, I hope you guys found this valuable. It was very strong example and sauce of trendline breaks, of inversions through trendline breaks, how to adjust your stop loss to them, and how to adjust your profit target when necessary, how to be flexible with your profit target, and what to target. In trendline liquidity, remember, we expect price to rip through it. So when normally if we had like this high and then we had another high here, I would just target the internal high. However, in this case, when we have trendline liquidity, when we have liquidity leading all up to it, I expect price to literally rip all the way through here. Like even this little retracement was a little bit unexpected, but it didn't really matter that much. I guess it could have been like I call it this a trend line, right? All right, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Dino. It's a student in the exclusive. I thought he banged 3,300 at first when I called profit target, right? I thought he banged $3,300. I thought he was saying like $1,100 across 3 Lucid accounts. I was like, nice, bro. That's a fucking insane day. Because this dude's like someone new. This dude joined like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Wasn't super consistent. Asked like kind of like, not I wouldn't say beginner. He knew what he was doing, but like, had some issues. Bro, whatever. I was like, good calls, bro. Yeah, whatever. Bro, I go, wait. Because I read this again. I'm like, wait, 3,300 times 3. I was like, wait, you meant like 1,100 times 3, right? So like 3,300 across 3. So like, no, 3,300 on each. This dude had a $9.9 thousand day. This dude literally made $9,900 today off of literally one day. And like, bro, so I just want to give a shout out to him. All right, guys, if you did find value in that, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button, if you hit the subscribe button, if you commented some support, and if you want daily trade recaps like this all the time, every day, sauce like this drop daily, feel free to join my free Discord link in the bio. Peace out, guys. Have an awesome day, and keep up the great trading. Love you guys.